Good morning, everyone. I should say good afternoon, but man, what a great day of fights, man. We're going to talk real quick. I'm going to go over this real quick. I'm going to wait for a couple of people to join on. But look, Baku delivered action-packed fights. Fantastic. We'll talk about the main card, and then I'm going to drop off of this. I'm going to be joined with my big boy, Big Angelo. We'll be jumping on a little bit here later at 3 o'clock, but if we have to go early, we'll probably go early. We're going to try to get this in for everybody. Drop us a comment. Let us know what your favorite fight was on the main card. I'm going to talk real quick. This is my quick reaction video that I try to do right after every big time fight, and or every time there's a main card. And so I will talk about the main card, and we'll just talk it up, man. So what's up? What's up, everybody? Let's go ahead. Look at this. I love this. I love seeing this right here. Thank you. CS Schaefer or whatever it is. Oh, what's up, Josh? How you? Been good, man. Been traveling a lot for my son's lacrosse. Been all around the East Coast this last couple of weeks. This last 2 weeks, it's been nothing but, travel for travel lacrosse. So it's been blessed. I've been blessed to spend as much time as I've been able to with my son and enjoy the team, enjoy the atmosphere, learning a lot. Never played lacrosse when I was a kid. So it's been awesome, man. It's been definitely a great. All right, here is one. All right, let's go. So I'm going to do this show probably about 20, 30 minutes on this show. We're a minute and 30 in already. I'm going to talk to you guys real quick about this fight and obviously the main card. And then I'm going to drop off and I'm going to be joined by my big boy, Angelo, probably right after I get done with this. We're going to jump on and do another live stream, and we'll talk about this and some current news stuff as well. We'll recap these fights, and then we'll talk about some news cycle stuff as well. It's always better, I feel like, when you have a co-host that, you can bounce things off of. You guys can go back and forth. And then you guys as subscribers can jump in, drop some comments or some questions, and we can try to get to those as well. So why does it say I'm not a member anymore? Didn't cancel. I think you have to renew. I'm not sure on why it would do that to you. I think you have to renew every month. I'm not sure if it's just an automatic renewal. I'll actually have to look into that, but I hope you join back up and become a member. I really would appreciate that. Thanks, guys. You guys have been awesome. If you guys don't know, we offer a membership account. It's $1.99 to get a little number but the little tag by your name. And then, I try to prioritize answering your guys' questions. And then if you guys do the $4.99 membership, that throws your name into a hat where you guys can join me for a fan debate, basically, or Q&A between each other, myself and you on the platform, and we go ahead and put that out on our channel. So I've got a new bunch of shows coming up. So obviously a lot coming on with Connor as return in July. Is it July? Yeah, July. June. Wait, June, July. What are we in? June right now? Yeah, July. So early July. So we're gonna have some fun, man. We're gonna have some fun. We got a lot going on. Those of you guys that don't know, I am going to be doing July 17th, 18th, 19th. I'll be doing Big John's command class in Las Vegas at Extreme Couture. So we will be having some fun out there at that. So if you guys are out that way and want to try to meet up, get a picture or whatever, I will be out that way as well. So let's go ahead and talk about the fight, man. Rafael Fiziev, what a fan. First off, let's just talk about both these guys are explosive, dynamic, and some of the best in the game. I know that, one is ranked, I think, number 9. The other one's ranked number 15. Torres probably won't drop out of the 15. I don't think he should. We saw enough out of him to realize this guy's got power. He's got technique. Just ultimately got caught. Got caught with a spinning heel kick right to the head, or right to the chest and neck. That actually rocked him, but not to the point of like he was out. His eyes didn't roll back in his head. He didn't seem like he was knocked out. And then he hit the ground, took a couple big shots. And then when basically he was laying on his back, took the hammer fist and took some big shots, man. And it was huge. That was a huge performance by Rafael Fiziev. He needed that. He needed to get a big win under his belt and have an impressive performance like he did tonight against somebody who was just coming up, somebody who was exploding on the scene. He'd only been in the cage. I think his longest fight was 4 minutes and 3 seconds inside the UFC cage. That was his longest fight, getting into the top 15, and obviously being in the top 15. Fiziev having to show that, hey, I've been here longer. I know my worth. I'm somebody that can get this done and get these guys out of the rankings, or let them know that they're not ready for my level of expertise. And I feel like Fiziev fought a damn good fight. Came out right off the jump, jumped on him, didn't let him settle in. That's one of the biggest problems that you're going to find with fighters that have too much experience. Sometimes they let the younger fighters settle in. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I made several mistakes as an older fighter or someone who'd been around for a long period of time in allowing guys to stay in fights that shouldn't have been staying in the fight with me. Okay. And I'll give you an example. This is no knock on my boy, because I actually got a lot of love for this guy, even though we fought. He won a split decision. But Bobby Green to me was not on my level. He was a talented fighter, and I shouldn't have lost to that. I shouldn't have lost that fight. I was out there kind of just like letting the fight happen, not really taking it serious. My fault. He fought a great fight, but I was afraid that that's something that guys that have been fighting for a long period of time, they sometimes have this ego about them that looks down on fighters that really haven't had the same experience inside the cage as them. For myself, I had already fought Yves Edwards, Hermes Franca. I'd been training with BJ Penn. I'd been around the circuit for a long period of time. But Fiziev came out right off the jump and was like, nah, I'm going to set the precedent right now that I'm the better fighter. He got right into his grill, started trying to land the big shot. He landed that right hand off the bat, and Manuel Torres didn't back up. He stayed right there in the pocket and started throwing some big shots back, some heavy kicks, some big power in his hands. And at the very end of that first round, if you go back and watch, that stiff jab that Manuel Torres landed, you could tell that Fiziev was hurt, and the bell went. And that was perfect timing for Fiziev, because had that been able to go another, say, 20 seconds, 15 seconds, you don't know what would have happened. Manuel Torres has got dynamite in his hands, and we know that. Think about that. Think about someone who's his longest fight in the UFC has been only 4 minutes and 3 seconds. That's insane. Absolutely insane to think that you're fighting guys to get to the top, to the highest level, in the lightweight division. One of the most stacked divisions in the sport, and has been for a very long time. And this guy's exploded onto the scene and been able to have great performances to the point of not even getting outside the first round. So my personal opinion on this fight was Fiziev came out, tried to set the standard quick. Manuel Torres settled in, started having some success towards the end of the first round, landed the big shot. Second round comes out, and Fiziev's like, no, I'm going to set the precedent right away that I'm not going to let you push you back. I'm going to get you to fear me right off the bat through the spinning wheel kick, lands it right to the side of the neck and jaw. Now, Manuel Torres was not like knocked out, but it stunned him a little bit, kind of zaps you a little bit. And then he got sat back to the fence, and then you see Fiziev kind of flurry on him. Manuel Torres does a good job of making sure that he can kind of stay safe. But then he gets to the top. Then he gets to that top position. Manuel Torres lays to his back, and he gets hammer-fisted. And so I look at what Fiziev did in this fight, in that way he came out explosive in the second round. I thought that was brilliant on his part, throwing something that Manuel Torres wouldn't really expect. And you can see Fiziev also said Manuel Torres is more of a Muay Thai guy, that Muay Thai style stand-up, which he's like, I've been dealing with that for my whole career. So he understood exactly what Manuel Torres was going to do out there. Wasn't probably sure of his power, wasn't probably sure of his explosiveness and the power in his kicks until he got in there, because you never know until you get in there. But I thought that Manuel Torres, I thought he looked good. I thought he took what Fiziev was willing to give, and then he also started mounting his own offense in that first round. Just got caught. I really feel like he just got caught. This young man will be back. He will be explosive coming forward. I'm excited to see what he can do to further his career coming out. But I love what I saw out of him tonight. And I know it didn't go his way, but it's very difficult to fight in somebody else's backyard, to fight where the whole country and the whole crowd and the whole stadium is rooting for the other fighter. It's very difficult. And he came out. I thought he had a good first round. I still probably gave it to Fiziev in that first round. It was a close round, though. If it could have went either way, I wouldn't have been mad if it went to Manuel Torres. Gave it to Fiziev. Second round, come out. It's just too short. Came out through a spinning wheel kick, gets the finish. Nicely done by Rafael Fiziev. Those of you guys that just joined us, I will be doing a show. I will drop it off of this. This is my quick reaction. Okay, and then I will be dropping off this, and we'll be joining right back in with my boy Angelo, and him and I are going to break down the fights a little bit more in depth. Okay, and then also too, we'll talk about some more content with some other news, MMA news cycle stuff. So we'll talk about that as well. So if you guys want to jump on for that, I would love to have you guys on. Shara Bullet and Michelle Pahea. Let me just tell you guys this. Herb Dean needs to get out of his own way. You cannot have the performance you just had at the White House and then turn around and do something very similar. You warned him 3 times about pulling the hair. You warned him 3 times. How many more warnings do you want to give? This was always my knock on him. Is my fight with Clay Guida, Clay was pulling my cut open and sticking his fingers in my eyes. He gave him like 6 or 7 warnings. No point was ever taken. Then in the Tony Ferguson fight, I went to sweep in the 3rd round. I'm dog dead tired. Had a horrible first or second round. Got cut up real bad. Blood everywhere. Can barely see. I go to sweep. When I hit that sweep, he grabs the fence. Herb tells him, let go of the fence. He grabs the fence again as I go to sweep again, goes to slap his hand off of it. Never was I stood up. Never was he stood up. Never was a point taken. How many times? I know refs, I don't want refs injecting themselves into the fight. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. But there comes a time when you're telling a guy 3 times to stop pulling his hair. I feel like this. Grabbing the fence and pulling hair are things that a fighter has 100% control of. 100% control. They know whether to squeeze the hair, pull the hair, grab the fence, to hold on to it, to grip it to the point where they can't be swept, or the fighter can't pull their hair back because you're pulling their hair. This should have been an automatic 1-point deduction. 100%. Look, in the exchange, this is why when the Shara Bullet, I believe it's Shara Bullet and Michelle Bay, it's the same thing. Shara went to push away after they got out of like an exchange out of the ground and came back up to the feet, and Shara pushed away. And when you push away, your hands are open. The finger went in the eye. That to me was accidental. Now I know it's still a penalty. I know it's still a foul. But in my mind, I'm like, those are in the exchange of, hey, get away from me. I'm trying to make space so I can land a shot. That's understandable because that's just natural reaction for human beings to push somebody away so they don't get hit. But the hair pull from the ground on the bottom 3 times, he told him to let it go. He let it go. And then he went back to grabbing it. Automatic point deduction. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. These are the type of things that I think as a fan, are we implementing the rules or are we not? Because fighters can just continue to get away with them as long as they want. If I grab the fence, I only get a warning. I can grab it again. If I grab your hair, now I get 3 warnings before there's possibly even a point taken away. I don't get it. I don't understand the Herb Dean logic in this situation. How many times can we warn somebody? Now let's talk about the fight. Okay, we're enough about Herb Dean. And look, I had to say something because we're in the middle of the fact of like 2 weeks ago at the White House card, back of the elbow or the back of the head, elbow shots and hammer fists to the back of the head against Alex Bejeda. And he went out and had to put out this whole thing describing what the back of the head is. Well, then you turn around 2 weeks later and we're having a fight like this. The guy literally grabbed his hair 3 times. He pulled his hair and you told him no to stop. And then he stopped and then he went back to grabbing it again. You have to do something about it. Otherwise, we're all just going to look at you as a rep. They're like, hey, I can just go ahead and get away with it 2 or 3 times before he even thinks about standing me up or putting me in a worse position or in the same position I was in or taking a point. How many times do we have to? And you could say Herb's a good ref. I think he is a good ref. But he's had a really bad run lately. Really bad run. Let's talk about the fight. Shara Bullet. I thought after the first round, after Michelle Pahea knocked him down, I thought after that he fought great. Stayed composed. Started to get his bearings back about him after getting dropped. He just, he was able to kind of start mounting an offense. Good takedown defense. Michelle Pahea just does not throw any punches. He's just not getting after it enough. You got to pull the trigger. But somebody like Shara Bullet is just so fast. He throws punches and kicks from awkward angles, the double bullet, what do you call it? Like where he does the spinning back fist and then comes back with another spinning back fist. All those things are great. You know, I just think that he needs to mount some sort of offense if he wanted to have success like he did in the first round. And he didn't do it. But Sharbullet gets the win, and good on him, man. Good on him. Camilo, man. Mateus Camilo versus Sadikov. I was thinking to myself, Nazim was going to have a lot more success on the feet. I thought he was going to be able to touch him up on the feet with the boxing, stuff the wrestling, and I thought it was going to be a very tough fight. I thought it was going to be a lot longer fight. And obviously that did not pan out. Camilo looked damn good. I think what you have to remember is that when you're fighting someone who you know wants to try to get this fight to the ground, it opens up the hands. It opens up the ability to land the strikes. And in this situation, I think Nazim was worried, not worried, but he knew that the wrestling was going to be coming here shortly. And when the shot landed, I mean, you know, it put him down. Now let's talk about the refereeing in this position. Way too early of a stoppage. These guys are the featured bout before the co-main event. There's some stock in this. The referee did a horrible job. He went down. He wasn't out. His knees got wobbled. He went down. You know, he went limp. But he was able, even before he sat to his side and his back, he was already covering up. You should be giving, if he's covering up, he's defending himself. He's defending himself the way he's supposed to be defending himself. Intelligently. That is the rules. If he is defending himself intelligently, which is what he was doing, you need to give him time. And that's what I saw. I saw where he before he hit the ground, he started to defend himself. Then when he was all curled up in the fetal position, he was defending himself. It's up to the ref to go, hey, you need to move. You need to move. And if he doesn't move, then let's go ahead. But he didn't do that. He went to jumping in right away. You need to move. You need to give them, if they are defending themselves, give them 2, maybe 3 times to react to, hey, you need to move. Because he's not really taking true damage. He's just covering up. The shots were not landing clean to the head. I would have been extremely upset had my fight been stopped that way. I thought he did a good job of weathering that first, obviously that big shot, dropped, covered up, was intelligently defending himself. The referee jumped in way too soon. Just a bad job by the referee. If these guys are the opening fight on the prelims and they're 2 young fighters, I can maybe see it. But you have to go with also, as I've had this conversation with Big John McCarthy several times, and I've had this conversation with almost all the other referees, Beltran, Minor, like all these guys. I've had these conversations with these guys. Herzog, all of them. How do you judge when a guy is, how do you judge if a guy can go ahead and take more damage? A guy that you've seen come back from taking a lot of damage. He's like, well, if they're on the main card, we give them a little bit more leeway. The reason why we give them more leeway, they've been through more of an experience if they made it onto the main card. They fought tougher opponents. So why would we not? These guys have earned the right to be on the main card. This guy's the featured basically fight before the co-main event and the main event. They're ramping up to get into the co-main event and main event. This guy's earned his spot. Camilo and Sadikov, basically, I feel like the ref ripped him off. Ripped him off. He was obviously hurt when he got dropped. He defended himself intelligently. Didn't have a chance to mount some sort of offense after that. You've got to give that fighter who is covering up, defending himself, hey, you need to move. You need to move. If this is your last warning, you need to move or I'm going to stop the fight. He needs to move. I thought it was a bad job by the referee. So I don't know Rich Mitchell. At least I don't recall if I know him or not. Maybe I've met him in person. I don't think this was a good stoppage. So back-to-back fights, we had a little bit of a little bit of a problem. Rich Mitchell is somebody who, Rich Mitchell and Herb Dean both just had, I feel like, had one bad stoppage, and then Herb Dean not taking a point from Shara Bullet for the hair pull. 3 times warning him about the hair pulling. You know? Jason GT 5433. I talked about that. Hair pulling, kicks in the nuts, eye poke, strikes to the back of the head. We saw about every illegal strike possible. When are they going to start taking away points? And then Niner Empire 101. Look, they take the commission with them. When they go to other countries that don't have a commission, they take the commission with them. They bring in their own referees. They bring in their own judges that are normally brought by the Nevada State Athletic Commission or the California Athletic Commission. They go ahead and they make that choice to bring those guys over. Camilo, though, can't say anything about him. Beautiful straight shot, landed right down the pipe. Oh, I appreciate this. Tony the Tiger, 5150. After the fights, first stop weighing in. I appreciate you guys. Thanks. Hey, just so you guys know, as soon as I'm done filming this reaction video, Big Ange and I will jump on and do a full recap of the card, and then we'll talk about some news as well. So don't miss that if you guys want to join us as well right after this. So I'm just giving you guys my instant reaction. Asul Alabayev versus Charles Johnson. Man, I have to agree with the commentators. This is the best that I've seen Alabayev look. I thought he looked absolutely fantastic. I thought he looked great. It was so good to see him fight the way that he fought. He fought clean. He was aggressive, heavy hands, good top pressure. I thought he was close to getting finished in that 3rd round with that inverted triangle by Charles Johnson. Those long, skinny legs, man, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. So I thought Alabayev looked absolutely fantastic. He looked great. Loved it. Loved everything about it. And look, Charles Johnson is one of those guys. He stays active. He's extremely busy, you know, and let's just talk. Alabayev looked good. Good on the feet, good on the ground, so fast, so explosive. And let's talk about the finish. Gets him in the silhouette stretch. So difficult to do. So difficult. Obviously, in the heat of the moment, looking for that submission, gets it done. But look, Alabayev was able to catch Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson's, first off, he's got some good wrestling credentials in the background, right? He's got some wrestling. Not the easiest guy to take down. Definitely not the easiest guy to hold down, as Alabayev found out. But it was a good fight. A damn good fight. And Charles just couldn't mount an offense enough to really make Alabayev respect him. Then they got into that grappling, got to the back, got the hook, grabbed the ankle, was able to get him in the silhouette stretch. Nice work by Alabayev. Ikram Aliskerov versus Bruno Ferreira. Look, I was very concerned about this fight. I know the odds had Aliskerov favored by a lot. I think it was like plus 250, which, you know, to me is 2-1 favorite. Still too much. I thought it was more. I thought it was a little bit of a closer fight. The betting odds were right. But I also was concerned because Bruno Ferreira is shorter in stature. He's got some decent takedown defense. He's got heavy hands. And Ikram's losses, I think he's got 2 losses, and both of them have come by knockout. Now, they've both come by knockout to very talented and top-level fighters that are currently in the game at top level. So when I look at this fight, I go, man, Ikram is someone who can wrestle, control top position, chase submissions, get busy on the feet, he can grapple. He's got good power in his hands, but can he avoid getting hit by Bruno Ferreira in some sort of exchange? That scared me. You know? So, here, a serious question. Let's go ahead and answer the serious question. Scumbag MMA. Hey, Josh, serious question. Will Big John and Yamasaki ever go back to refereeing the UFC again, in fights again? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'd love to see Big John back in the UFC. I mean, it would be nice if they threw him in the Hall of Fame. I feel like he's one of the, if anyone deserves to be in there, it would be him. Maybe after he's done reffing, maybe after he gets older. I don't know. You know, not sure. But I don't think he'll be back in the UFC. I'd love to see him back in the UFC. So, I don't know. But was hoping that he would. But Ikram looked good. He looked controlled, had good position. I would have liked to see him chase the finish a little bit more. That's what's lacking with him right now. Is I think a lot of people want to see him chase that finish, and we don't get that yet. Let's talk about Abus Magomedov versus how do you say this guy's last name? Oleschuk. I know it's a mouthful, man. Oleschuk. I thought that the word was out. The word is out that you got to get Abus into the second and third round. And Mikhail didn't do it. And that really, really kind of throws me off. I'm surprised. Like, your coaches in your corner should be like, hey, whatever it takes to get this fight to the second and third round. Abus will slow down. He'll start leaving some openings, and we can get him out of there. And it didn't happen. He allowed him to get him in trouble. He was able to rock Mikhail, and then when he rocked him, he was able to jump right on the neck. And he jumped quick. He went right to the wrap, and then he threw the leg over before he even hit the ground, and then just started locking it in. It was tight. It was very, very tight. Abus looked good. I mean, it's in the first round, 3 minutes, 25 seconds of the first round. Didn't expect much. Didn't expect much. So, I'm going to talk about the rest of the card with my boy Big Ange, but Josh, is it true? Let's see what he has to say. Niner Empire 101. Josh, is it true? Mike literally wrote the rules. I don't know who Mike is. Wrote the rules of modern day MMA. Who's Mike? Big Mike? I don't know. You mean Big John? Big Mike. I don't know who Big Mike is. Big John did have a lot of influence in writing the rules and getting it to a point where they've got to this point, like where the states have legalized it, where the states were all on board with it. And and John still has some influence over a lot of the commissions. They actually reach out to him and ask his advice on what we should do to make these rules a little bit better. Here's another fight. Here's another one. Whatever's clever 87. Nemkov and Usman Nurmagomedov are biggest talent outside UFC. I want to see them in the UFC. I would agree. I would also like to see AJ McKee at 145 in the UFC. I'd also like to see that. And also, too, Dakota Teixeira. If they're going to go anywhere, if they're comfortable where they're at, I'd like to see them where they're at. I want them to stay in the PFL. If they're making good money and they're fighting fights that they're having success, let's have them there. I'm not into this whole like they have to be in the UFC. I'm not that guy. I never was that guy. I fought in the UFC early in my career. Then I went to Pride, fought in Pride. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on outside the UFC where these guys can make a lot of money. If they can cash out and make a lot of money outside the UFC and fight the best guys that are available or the best females that are available to them at the time, and they can cash out, I would 100% love to see that. That's how I feel. Let's go ahead and answer this question. Josh, how do you say that? Josh Ibram, Joseph 2954. Do you think MMA or the UFC is a dying organization once these current legends know? There's always a new breed. There's always a new breed that will come along. Do I think that it had a setback? Yeah, I think it did up until this White House card. And I think the return of Conor will catapult it even more. And then Islam and Ian Gary will fight in August. You're going to have 3 months in a row of some of the best fighters in the world fighting, the top, most talented fighters in the world fighting. Yes. Am I watching the PFL tonight? Yes, I will tune in for some of those fights. Absolutely. I'm going to watch AJ McKee fight tonight. There's some other fights on that card I would love to see. So yes, I will be watching. So look, there's a lot of fights out there. Here we go, Ash. They've said that for years over and over. What do you mean they've said what for years over and over? I just want to see them tested against the best named opponents, but I do want fighters paid first. Everybody wants to see the fighters paid first. So why are they getting mad when those fighters don't come to the UFC? The best pay is not always in the UFC. Sometimes it is, though. Sometimes it is, but not always. So we can't dog on them for that. Look, I think that there's stars to be had. Kevin Vallejos, to me, could be a potential star, especially for Mexico. Okay? I did talk about, how about that spinning heel kick? I did talk about it. I talked about it one of the very first things I talked about. Those of you guys that are just joining, I want you guys to know I'm going to jump off this right now. I'm going to join with my boy Angelo here and probably in the next, I don't know, let's see. Let's text him and let's see what he's doing. Let's text big boy and see if what he's doing. Let's see when he's ready. When are you ready? Otherwise, I can sit. When are you ready? I'm going to sit here and talk with you guys until he's ready to go. Does that sound good? Josh, do you think the PFL buying Bellator was positive or negative? I thought it was positive in the moment, and I thought it was negative the way they handled it. They did not do a good job on how they handled it. And that was the problem. That was a big problem. So I don't know. Like, they didn't buy it. Let's not pretend like they bought it. There was no money exchanged hands. They got like they could have gotten more for it. Scott Coker offered to buy it. And Scott Coker talked about this on I think it was the Ariel Helwani show. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't matter. Scott Coker tried to buy it, asked to buy it, and they said it was a conflict of interest. It shouldn't have been a conflict of interest had they pushed it out to other people and gave them the option to buy it. But instead, they gave it away to the PFL, and the PFL fumbled the bag. No, does Luda Moose does Angelo Big Brother me? No, he can't fight, guys. What are you guys talking about? He's got some good wrestling. He's a big guy. He's got jiu-jitsu, a little bit of jiu-jitsu, blue belt, purple belt level jiu-jitsu. But he has no cardio. Literally like 5 minutes. 5 minutes of rolling and he'll be done. And then that's where us lightweights shine, man. I'm not welterweight now, but that's where us welterweights shine. We shine in that area. I'll be running circles around his ass. He'll be looking for a donut. Getting a breather. What are you talking about? What did the PFL do wrong? D's Nuts 617. What did they do wrong? Well, they try to run two organizations at the same time. They try to run Bellator and the PFL. Now, I have been told by people that are still work for the PFL, and they actually feel like they should have kept the name Bellator and got rid of PFL. That's where they fumbled the bag. That was like all the best fighters that they brought over. And there were still some in the PFL that were good. Let's not say that there wasn't. They had some fighters in PFL that were extremely talented. But I also believe that Bellator was the bigger name. Bellator had the better fighters. Bellator had the bigger stars. You had AJ McKee, Patricio Pitbull, Patricky Pitbull, Yaroslav Amosov, Jason Jackson. You had Johnny Eblin. People that they were talking about these fighters, Gegard Mousasi. They were talking about these guys being the best fighters in the world at the time. These guys, Yaroslav Amosov only had one loss when when the PFL took over Bellator. You understand? And it was one of those positions where like they could have taken that, put all their money into it, rolled the PFL into Bellator and just kept it going. You know, I honestly believe that I have no idea why Paramount just allowed themselves to get rid of it. They just gave it away for nothing. If the PFL folds, they will have made nothing from it. And you got people going, hey, man, I miss Bellator. Just remember this. You miss Bellator because you miss seeing more fights. It's good to have an alternative option. Just remember that when Coker starts his new promotion. Remember how it feels right now. Look, I think the UFC is fantastic. I'm not here to shit on the UFC. I love watching all the fighters. I love everything that they're doing right now. The White House card to me was the single most best sporting event I have ever seen. They did it with class. If that was fantastic. The fights were great. Everything worked out. But I want you guys to remember that when Coker starts his new organization, starting sometime I think in January of 2027, be supportive. Watch the fights. Even if they're young, talented, young and up and comers, watch them. The reason why I say that is because we want to have an alternative where these fighters can make more money. I also think, though, it's up to Scott Coker that he needs to do a good job of making sure he separates himself from what UFC is and from what Bellator was and from what Strikeforce does. And the way that I feel like he does that is he puts it into a ring. That's one. Two is he does 8 to 9 fights, maybe up to 10 fights a night, does no more. So I have less fighters on the roster and more fighters that are willing to fight more frequently. The more these fighters are able to get inside the cage, the faster they will become stars. You need fighters that are willing to fight 3-4 times a year. I used to beg Coker to fight me more often when Strikeforce first came around. But because we only had 12, 15 fights, a year, I was only able to fight sometimes 2-3 times a year at the most. I would have fought as many times as I possibly could. That's one of my things I look back in my careers. The UFC would have offered me, more fights had I fought in the UFC. But I made way more money fighting in Strikeforce. I didn't need to fight more often because I made more money than the guys that were fighting over there. So I want everyone to understand you can still support whatever Scott Coker does and whatever the PFL does and still be a huge fan of the UFC. And I feel like if Coker is going to start an organization, it's got to be different than what the UFC is. If you put it into a ring, like how Rise and Pride were, and then you only schedule 10 fights, 9 to 10 fights a night, I think you're gonna gather a lot more fans that way because you're gonna see the best fighters on the roster fight more frequently. 10 fights also. When we got done watching the UFC White House card, we got done watching, if you guys didn't watch the CFFC card at Liberty Hill that I had commentated, there was only 7 fights. The night flew by. Every fight was action-packed. It felt so good to be part of that event. It didn't feel like it drug on all day. Think about this. It is 2 o'clock Central Time. It was like 2:10 when I jumped on here. 2 o'clock Central Time. And the fight started at 8 a.m. That's a long day. There was 6 fights on the main card. It took 3 hours, a little over 3 hours. Can you imagine, though, if you just had a whole fight card and you were able to go about your day watching the best fighters you possibly could? I think that should be the way. If you're a Scott Coker fan, if you're a PFL fan, shorten your nights. People don't have time to watch 14 fights, 15, 16 fights. Fans make it happen. But I would rather see 7 fights, 8 fights, 9 fights. John Anik has said it. 10 fight cards is perfect. 10 is perfect. Let's go ahead and Scumbag MMA. Josh, when you trained for your fights, did you watch what you ate or did you eat whatever you wanted? I definitely watched everything. I ate the same thing every single time. Every morning I woke up, ate a quarter cup of oatmeal. I had 3 eggs with either spinach or some sort of tomato and spinach or onions and spinach, but I always had some sort of eggs, 3 eggs. And then I would go home, I'd go train or go run. I'd come home from training. I'd either go have like chicken and rice with some broccoli at a little sushi spot next door, or I would go and get like sashimi with a little side of rice at the same sushi spot next door. Or I would come home and I'd have 5 eggs over 4 red potatoes that I would boil. I'd boil 4 red potatoes, cut them all open, and I'd put 4 over easy eggs, 4 to 5 over easy eggs on them. A little bit of Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt, and a lot of pepper, and maybe some cayenne pepper. That was my lunch every single day for 8 weeks. And then dinner, it varied. Dinner was a mixture of a bunch of things, either salmon or chicken mixed with either quinoa or brown rice. My meals were very simple. Very simple. Because the cleaner that I ate during camp, the easier my weight cut was. So I spent a ton of time focusing on my not meal prepping. Everything was fresh. I made everything fresh. I didn't meal prep my food. I couldn't stand eating the food as it was. And then to eat it kind of like warmed up in the microwave. No thanks. My meals were so plain and so simple. There was times where I would come home and eat ground turkey with 4 eggs mixed in with spinach, onions, tomatoes, maybe a little bit of broccoli. That was my meal. That'd be my dinner sometimes. Or I'd come home and have like a slab of wild salmon with a little bit of quinoa and then like maybe like a side of red potatoes. But it was everything was very similar. I never ate steak during camp. All I had was chicken and salmon. Chicken or fish, I should say. I'd eat tilapia every once in a while. I wasn't a big fan of tilapia, especially with all the mercury in it. That I'd eat orange roughy, which was closer to my fight, so it helped me cut weight. And then I'd eat halibut. So I'd buy like stacks of halibut that I could get. My buddies were fishermen that were out in they were fishermen, so like they would send me over some stuff. Yeah. I would eat clean, but everything I made fresh. I didn't eat anything that was like I never did meal prepping. Yeah. Your your farts probably freaked, bro. Yeah, they were I don't know. I mean, I never sat around and smelled them. Oh man. What else you guys got? I'll watch a 20 fight card every day. Yeah, you get it. I get you'll do it. I know people will do it. So here we go. Let me see here. Josh Ibram Joseph 2954 says, Josh, is there an Islam interview coming up, sir? No, there is not right now. I don't have one on the schedule, but I do plan on trying to possibly get out there for his fight. I want to see, obviously, I think their camps will be out there in the New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia area. I would love to get back out there like I did last time. This time, if I do go, it'll be less of an interview and more of training with him. I've got some stuff that I'm working on, trying to get back into not fight training camp, but like obviously I think I cover Roth Wrestling, which by the way, I'll have Kyle Snyder on and Kyle Dake on, both of them on Monday. So if you guys have some questions you guys want, throw them up in the chat or send me a DM on Instagram at the Real Punk, and we'll go ahead and do that. So I just want to let you guys know, yeah, I've got Kyle Snyder and Kyle Dake coming on Monday during the day. So if you guys have some questions, throw them off in the chat, and I'll go through in the chat and see what we can do. All right, guys. Look, I'm going to jump off for about 10, 15 minutes. Angelo and I are going to jump back on at 3. Where does Fiziev? This is a good question because Fiziev had such a great performance tonight. Where does Fiziev go from here? Let's talk. Let me look up the rankings. Where does Fiziev go from here? Let's take a look. Right now, super talented. He's right now at... Oh, he actually was bounced out of the rankings, from what I understand. Looks like. Yeah, he's not in the rankings right now. You got Tom Nolan. You've got Manuel Torres. So he'll jump into the number 13 spot. They had him ranked at number 9. Oh, this is the media rankings. Let's see what we got here. Let's go. Meta rankings. Oh, wait. There we go. Down here. Fiziev is number 11 right now on the meta rankings. So the other one, the media, that was the meta rankings, the first one. The media rankings panel still have him at number 9 or at number 11, I should say. How about we put Fiziev versus... Oof. I don't know, man. I think we got to slow play him a little bit. I think we've got to slow play him. I would love to see him get another win. I'd love to see him have an opportunity to look impressive. Why not against Quinlan Salakid? Why not him? To step up in competition for him. And Fiziev, I think, an opportunity for him to get back on track. Like, he's in, like, run off a couple, contender fights. A couple fighters that will definitely challenge him, that have a name, have a ranking. Let's see about that. That's what I think. Let's take a look at that. I love this little toggle they have, though, right now for the rankings. I love that. So, Fiziev versus the loser of Patty and BSD. Might be too much too soon. I like to see the Salakid fight. I'd like to see that fight. Ikram fight versus Shara. I don't think I'd like to see that. Just my personal opinion. Scumbag MMA. I'm not sure I'd like to see that. Let me see. Let's take a look. Ikram. I want to see Ikram fight. I like watching him fight. But look, we're getting to this point where he's number 14 right now on the media. And Ikram is... Where is he at in this? He's not even in the rankings. He's not even in the rankings for the media panel ones. But I mean, I think it's time to give him somebody like a Gregory Rodriguez. Give him somebody like What about a Jared Cannonier? You got to be able to beat these guys. You got to be able to beat them. Why not? Why not? Let me ask you this. You don't want to kill the Bo Nickel drive. But why not a Roman Dolidze? You know, let's do that. Let's do the Roman Dolidze fight. Roman Dolidze is tough. He's good all the way around. Christian Leroy Duncan. That's another one I'm not opposed to. He's got to be able to beat these guys. He's not in the rankings. In the rankings on 1. In the media rankings, he's not there. In the meta rankings, he's there. So, I mean, I don't know. He's at number 14 in the meta rankings. You give him Jared Cannonier? Jared's older. I like Dolidze and him. Dolidze and him is a good step up in competition, or you give him Jared Cannonier. But once he gets to number 10, you can't save him from everyone else. Look, I know when you guys say, hey, RoboCop is fighting Fluffy already, I understand these things. I know the fights are already announced, but let's just talk about like what would we like to see next. Even though RoboCop is fighting next against Fluffy, I get it. Okay, and Cannonier is fighting Leroy Duncan. I get it. But that doesn't mean that I still wouldn't want to see the fight. That is like, I'm just thinking in terms of what would be a good fight. I'd love to see that fight. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to jump off real quick, use the restroom, come right back. Big Angel and I are going to jump on, be ready to go here in a little bit. You guys are going to watch. We're going to talk the fight card. We're going to talk some news. We're going to talk everything. All right, guys. And we'll get into it. So I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. And man, you guys have been actually fantastic. So I want to thank you guys. And Saturday mornings used to mean coffee and sidelines. Now it's game time for all of us. We're running drills, chasing goals, and trying to keep up with each other. Soccer, lacrosse, doesn't matter. What matters is we're doing it together. But here's the thing I didn't expect. Training with your kids, it hits different. You sweat more, you push harder. If you're not careful, you could burn yourself out. That's why I started bringing LMNT. No sugar, no junk, just electrolytes. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. So you can stay sharp, stay moving, and stay in the game. Because when your kids look over and say, "Come on, Dad, keep up," you don't want to sit this one out. You want to be right there with them. Hydration isn't just about performance. It's about showing up. For them, for yourself, for moments like this. LMNT.
Stay salty.